I'm glad to be with you today. This is Andrew Phipps, and I have a topic selected that hopefully you will enjoy and appreciate. We have titled this program, We the People. We the People are the first three introductory words in our preamble to the Constitution. No other written constitution in the world commences with this affirmation that power is in the hands of the people. America's Constitution is not centered around we, the Commonwealth, we, the state, we, the community, or we, the ruling body. Its focus and purpose are the people, the individual persons who are the great fabric of this great nation. Prior to the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence was a statement of our beliefs. It said what we would consider today as organic law. It stated the fact that we believe that our rights came from a divine creator, that he had given us the inalienable rights, or some call them unalienable rights, the rights of life, liberty, and property, that these came from God. Well, when we think about our republic, we're not making any apologies. We're just simply saying that since government did not give us these rights, government cannot take them away. What a powerful declaration that men are created equal by the God of this universe. What a time for such a proclamation when slavery was being practiced around the world and societies were divided into rich and poor and slave and master. When this statement obviously goes against the accepted viewpoint of the world to stand for the biblical truth of the rights of each individual. James Madison, the principal architect of the Constitution, set up a system of government designed with three branches of government, drawing upon Bible history and the problems experienced under a weak system of government during the times that we call the Articles of Confederation. This document was truly the work of genius. It's been said that the men that gathered there to write the Constitution, that what an assembly, men that we would say that were wise people, given to sagacity, people that understood that men and women, mankind, that the ultimate goal is freedom, that government doesn't, that the people do not exist for the government. The government is created so that we can maintain order in our system and yet preserve our freedoms. The legislative branch was designed to make law with a bicameral Congress composed of a House of Representatives and Senate. The executive branch was the president, who is to enforce the law, and the judicial branch with the United States Supreme Court and other federal courts to interpret the law. Included were the general principles of popular sovereignty, limited government, separation of powers, and federalism. Of the 55 delegates who finally showed up for the first meeting that began on May the 25th, 1787, although 74 delegates were chosen by the 12 states to attend, Rhode Island sent no delegate. They worked through the hot summer days until September the 17th, and then a Bill of Rights was finalized and added by the year of 1791. Delegates were skeptical about giving too much power to a central government. As a matter of fact, Patrick Henry refused to go to the Constitutional Convention because he said, "I smell a rat." We'll be back in just a moment. As I was saying in the last segment there, Patrick Henry refused to go to the Constitutional Convention. He said, "I smell a rat." Some of the people that were involved in the writing of the Declaration did not attend this convention. Thomas Jefferson, who was one of the principal authors of the Declaration, was in Europe. Patrick Henry thought, well, we may be giving too much power away. And so these people, they remembered the experiences in Europe where monarchs ruled under what was called divine right. These men, fearful that leaders would abuse power, wanted a system of checks and balances that put proper restraints upon each branch of government. In this way, no one branch could seize much power. The Bill of Rights, our first 10 amendments, they provide for freedoms of religion, speech, press, petition, and assembly. It goes on to secure our rights to bear arms, prohibit illegal searches and seizures, provides for due process of law, and allows trial by juries, among other things. The delicate task is to determine how little or how much power do we place in a government that tries to promote health, safety, general welfare, and morals of a free people. President Lincoln said that whatever the individual can do by himself, that he ought to so do. Only those issues which are beyond the scope of the individual to do are to do as well by himself, individually. Only those should be assigned to the government. Examples include maybe maintaining a military, building or fixing roads, providing schools, and conducting foreign affairs. I believe that a famous American warned that a government that is big enough to give you all that you want is big enough to take it all away. The late comedian George Burns Riley committed, "Too bad all the people who know how to run the country are busy driving cabs and cutting hair." Never forget, we the people are the government. Our elected leaders work for us. We are their employers. They are the employees. In the hands of the people, the power resides. The Bill of Rights secures our rights. The Constitution works. May it ever be. We know that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So said John Emmerich Edward. Government, John Adams said, is a contrivance of human wisdom to provide for human wants. Edmund Burke said that if we do not preserve our liberties, he said, what country can preserve its liberties if its rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. And I believe that it's so important today, as we have seen during the pandemic, when state and local authorities, especially at the executive levels, governors and mayors, impose unnecessary mandates, going so far as to try to close churches, tell us where we can meet, and even if we can't meet, even in our own homes. That is a usurpation of power. It's taking too much power. Nowhere is this aggrandizement of power permitted in our Constitution. We don't have rights that are just applicable only at certain times. I realize that if there is a national emergency, we may all have to do some things that are not normally at our convenience level. But when governors and mayors basically can close businesses and basically mandate outcomes, then we are in serious trouble, and we'll say more about this later.
Hi, I'm Micah Clark, the director of the American Family Association of Indiana, which was founded in 1993 to be a voice for families in the halls of government across Indiana. We support faith, family, and freedom, just like Andrew Phipps has been a voice for faith, family, and freedom for years. And with this new show, I'm very excited about Andrew's new show. I'm glad you're watching. It is so important today in our age of information technology where we're flooded with information constantly, thousands of messages each day. We don't always know who to trust. Public confidence in the media is an all-time low. Public confidence in our elected officials is also very low. I want to tell you, you can trust Andrew Phipps to provide a biblical worldview that you and your family can trust on information that our founders would have supported in the values that made our country great with faith, family, and freedom. I encourage you each week to tune in to Andrew Phipps on faith, family, and freedom.
Continue. Americans, if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them, well, we would be better off. Were we directed from Washington when to sow and when to reap, we should soon want bread. And I believe this was said by Thomas Jefferson. The God who gave us liberty gave us life at the same time. The hand of force may destroy, but cannot disjoin them. I believe it's very important to remember that the struggle for liberty and freedom is an always ongoing process. It never ends just at a certain time. Ronald Reagan made the famous statement that said that our freedoms are only one generation away from being taken from us. He said, if we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under. I believe it's very important. I believe it's very advantageous for us to do all that we can to make sure that the power-grabbing tools of those in authority are curtailed. It's hard to get freedom back once it is lost or dissipated. Someone made a statement in the colonial period that said that the blood of tyrants must be applied frequently to preserve the tree of liberty. I certainly don't ever advocate force or leading people into rebellion to the extent that they want to hurt others or anything like that. But I'm saying through our processes, the ballot box and elections, we can have a significant impact. We cannot support people or a party that has as their goal to further take away our rights, maybe even to expanding the Supreme Court so that they can get the desired outcomes that they wish to have in the appointment of their justices. I think that we need people on the court that will not try to make laws, but they will try to interpret the laws as they were written. I believe in original intent. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe that without a constitution, we are in dire straits. We are in very serious consequences. I believe it was Noah Webster that made this statement, or perhaps not Noah, but Daniel Webster, the famous orator from the Commonwealth state of Kentucky. He said the Constitution was not just made for the temporary. It was not just made for that time. He said it was made for perpetual posterity, for future generations. You know, in the Bible, we're told that there arose another generation which knew not the Lord, nor the works which he had done for Israel. We can never forget the great heritage of freedom in our country. Have we made serious mistakes? Absolutely. Have we been a perfect country? No way. Have we done things that have cost us great sacrifices? Yes. But I think that we would all agree that in the process to ameliorate or to improve upon the concept of liberty, not only is it an ongoing process, but it's one that we have to continuously give time and attention. Our desire should be to treat everyone the way we wish to be treated. We ought to treat our fellow man with respect and dignity. We're to love our neighbor, the Bible says, as ourselves. God created us in His own image. So the race that God created was the race that He brought forth. And we need to always keep this in our memory bank. And we'll be back in just a moment. Judge Learned Hand, Learned was his first name, Learned. Learned Hand made this statement. He said, liberty lies in the hearts of men and women. While it lies there, it needs no law, no constitution to keep it. When it dies there, no law, no constitution can save it. The spirit of liberty is in our hearts. The Bible that we believe to be inerrant, infallible, and inspired says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty is in Christ, spiritually speaking. But liberty, physically and humanly speaking, is also something that God wanted us to have. We were never to be in bondage. Unfortunately, through the years, we have seen man's inhumanity to man. We've seen it in wars. We've seen it in situations where that it was so obvious, cruelty to one another. You know, the Bible talks about in the book of Jude, the 25 verses in that little book of Jude about peace, mercy, and grace, talks about love. These are the contingent values that we embrace, and these are the cornerstones and should be of our free republic. When bureaucrats, and I believe it was Ronald Reagan that said a temporary program, that there's nothing on earth as permanent as a temporary government program. I think that's so true. A lot of these things have been established as fiat or by decree. You can't go to the Constitution and find it there. How would you go to the Constitution and tell preachers that their sermon materials have to be given approval by the state, or that if they sing a song that they could be fined, as was the case out there with Pastor Jack Treber at North Valley Baptist Church in Santa Clara, California. They were fined excessively for not only preaching, but because the people sang. To me, that is a usurpation of power. It's a violation of the Constitution. It's a violation of the separation of church and states that we'll be dealing with in another format. But I just want to remind us today that our liberties, they have to be fought for. They have to be maintained. There has to be vigilance given to those liberties and to our freedom. We are not only allowed certain things that the government approves, but we are free people. That means we have freedom of speech and press and petition and so on. Does it mean that we can use those freedoms to hurt or injure or other people? No. But as long as we are saying truth, and as long as we are saying it in a way that doesn't hurt people, that would cause them immediate injury. I think it was Oliver Wendell Holmes that said no one should be allowed to go into a crowded theater and holler fire. Well, we would know the consequences of that should that happen. But I think that we, as citizens of this great country, we have a right to expect of our government to secure borders, to protect us. That's what the preamble of the Constitution says. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare, do secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. I hope that this kind of program, this kind of teaching, will be of immense helpfulness to you. Be sure that you advertise it in your churches and in your workplaces and in where your family and friends and community. But until the next opportunity, this is Andrew Phipps saying, God bless, have a great day.
Phipps Faith, Family, and Freedom, brought to you by Blue Gate Restaurant and Bakery, Shipshewana, Heritage Funeral Care, Knightstown, Ashton Surveyors, Muncie, Hillsdale Farm, Randolph County, Cardinal Exteriors, roofing specialists serving the Muncie area, Dr. Jeff Hiltz, Muncie,